everyone and welcome back to this book nook. Welcome back to episode 11 of Chooses TBR. Let's just launch straight into it, team. You might be noticing, what the heck is this big blank? Well, team, it's where this basket of uninspiring books has come from. Let me explain. The last Wheel of TBR I did was before I started Vlogmas and before I went on school holidays. And I love that. I love the books I chose at the time, but since then I've got some books out from the library that have been on hold for a few weeks. I've started a buddy read and I'm just no longer excited in the books that I originally had on my shelf. So I'm going to very quickly go through them, whether I am keeping them to read again, returning them to the library, or just or unhauling them and donating them somewhere. So let's do that. So if you've been watching my vlogs, you will have known that a couple of books have been added to this shelf. First of all is this Christopher Paolini one. Honestly guys, I read 50 pages of it. There's my bookmark, let me take it out. And I really like it, but it's so big and I just don't feel like right now I'm ready to sit down and read a 900-page book. So this one is being returned to the library. My English department at school purchased this book for me and this is staying on my TBR. I'm just letting you guys know this because in my latest Wheel of TBR video I didn't include this one because it's only been a recent addition to my collection. If you want to know more about what it's about, I'll leave a Goodreads link down below, like I will with all of these books that I mentioned today. So this one is going up here. Next up, we have The Well of Ascension. This is my own copy and I am definitely keeping this. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing, but I'm just not in the mood for a thick fantasy right now. I'm thinking January, maybe, give it a couple of weeks, but this is just real daunting at the moment. And I forgot to mention, I haven't completed anything in a week, which for me is quite a long time. I read at least 2 books a week, so I'm real in the slump. So I'm just trying to freshen things up and have a positive change. So keeping this, putting it back on my shelf. Next up here is Secret History. Honestly, the same dealio. I started reading this like a chapter in, I put it down, never came back to it. I still really want to read this book, keeping it on my shelf. Need to know, I'm no longer thrilled about keeping this book. I have so many books on my want to read shelf these days that if I'm just not excited about it anymore, I'm going to unhaul it. In that same unhaul basket is Scars Like Wings. This is one that I've had since like my previous episode 9 of Will Chooses my TBR. And I'm just no longer interested, so that is being unhauled as well, donated, or I might just hold on to it until I get a classroom, until I get my classroom back next year and donate it just to my little collection of books for the kids to read. Next up, QB Bad Boy. This is a summer arc that I got. I'm not excited about it anymore, but I'm definitely keeping it. I really do want to read it and get around to it. Obviously keeping this is part of my Witcher series. I'm trying to see if you can see it up there. Really want to finish this series. In fact, I'm going to keep this on my TBR. And another one I'm keeping is 80 Days Around the World. It's one of my classics I really want to read. It's pretty short, 200 pages, so I'm going to put this back on my classics shelf. Whoops. I will return, I will get that back. And then I mentioned a buddy read, just so you guys are in the loop. I'm currently buddy reading The Exorcist with you guys. If you've been following along with my Vlogmas, I was requested when they saw that this book was on my shelf to do a buddy read with this. So I thought, you know what, why not? By the time you see this video, I am still doing Vlogmas and you will still have time to catch up. I'll only be maybe halfway through and I'm considering doing like a live stream as I finish the last part of the book and also watching the movie with you guys as well. So that's also up there. Another one that's also up there is The Inheritance Game. This is one of the library books I mentioned, which has been on my TBR shelf. On hold. On hold from the library for quite a while. So essentially we follow our main character called Avery. Yeah, she's come from nothing, but she's inherited a massive fortune and mansion, and her family are just playing some sort of twisted game, maybe to get it back from her, I'm not too sure, but the whole game aspect really intrigued me. So this is the 4th book that is kind of starting this TBR refresh. If you've been watching my vlogs, you will know that I've started a segment where I spin the wheel for you guys at the end of my vlogs. I'm going to keep doing that for every video, including this one. So if you want to see a prompt just for you guys, hang out till the end. Alright guys, we're up to the spinning portion of the video. If you like these videos, please do consider leaving a cheeky like and subscribe down below. It really helps out a small channel. Here's a graph of how many of you are subscribed from the last wheel video that we watched. It just really helps me out, so thank you for that. Your girl's going to finally spin. Spin number 1. Start a series. Okay, where's my pen? Write this down in my Shakespeare book. Here we go. Last time I showed it like real quickly. These are all things that Shakespeare said that are now in our current vocabulary. Alright team, so I've gone and picked all of my books. Here's what I chose. So, for this first prompt of starting a series, sorry, just organising my life, I'm going with Infinity Son. This is an Adam Silvera book, and the first of a series, obviously. It's a fantasy YA series, and I have picked it up before, and I didn't get round to it, but now, I need to sit up straight. But now, I am going to get to it. It's about two brothers thrown into a war, a fight for good and evil. One brother has the power to end it all, the other will stop at nothing. Lots of students I know, I say lots, two students have explicitly told me to read this, so it's going up on my shelf. Alright, so that one is being replaced with random number off my own unread shelf. Alright, so spin number 2. Oh, that's coming off a bit. What does that say? First book on Instagram. Ooh, okay, I'm filming with my phone, so I will insert the first book I found on Instagram and I will request it from the library. Let's cut to that, editing me. Alright, so from that clip you will have just seen, I was originally going to read Me Before You, and I even put a hold on it at the library, but then I kept scrolling for a little bit and found this. So this is Holding Up the Universe. This is by Jennifer Niven, and I read her arc called Breathless, and I can still find myself daydreaming about that book. I really loved it. So I picked this up from an op shop wanting to read more of her work. It's like a young adult contemporary. We have Libby, who is a curvaceous young woman, but people unfortunately don't seem to look past her weight. And then there's Jack, who's meant to be like the cool, hot, flirtatious guy, but he's got secrets, and ultimately it's the story of them coming together. And I'm really intrigued because the IGTV post thingy I saw of it was someone saying they didn't like this book, so I am very curious. Alrighty, and that, can I grab it? Oh no, run away, come back here. Alright, so we got there. Mystery is filling that blank. So for spin number 3 of 5, by the way. A retelling. I'm not the biggest fan of retellings, but I will do my research and find one that I'm genuinely looking forward to. Oh, and I should also say shout out to Dreams to be read for that prompt. For retelling, I kind of cheated a little bit. This one is called The Vanishing Witch. It's actually my own book I got from an op shop. I just need to snip off the library covering and stuff. Got it for $1. What a score. And essentially I say I'm cheating because this isn't an explicit retelling of a tale, but it is fairy tale kind of story. To just read the blurb, the reign of Richard II is troubled, the poor are about to become poorer still, and the landowners are lining their pockets. Blah blah blah, there's a dour wool merchant, an impulsive son, a stepdaughter with bewitching eyes, or the raven-haired widow, and people start dying unnaturally. It just is giving me fairy tale vibes in how it's kind of written, so I went for this one. Yeah. You guys hear the siren? Pretty cover. If you didn't know what New Zealand police sirens sound like, now you know. Spin number 4. Enemies to lovers. I love this trope so much. Shout out to Book Lover 1003. I feel like this one will be kind of hard to pick unless it explicitly says enemies to lovers in the blurb. I might have to do some research again. For enemies to lovers, I'm actually bringing back this one because the main character in the first book kind of feels connected to this other guy, and they're just not meant to be together. They're not meant to have any romantic connection, but she starts to feel it anyway in book 1, and I'm curious to see if it's explored in this book, and honestly, I do love this series and want to read it, so I'm just going to give it a second breath of wind and put it on my shelf. Alrighty, so that is being replaced with graphic novel manga. That would be a really good one to get. For spin number 5. A random country setting. Okay, let's bring up the laptop. Oh, okay, so I just found a website with a wheel of random countries. Let's spin it. Okay, Sweden. I'm going to see if I can find a book set in Sweden. For the one set in Sweden, I actually went with a child book, and that is Pippi Longstockings. I've never read this book, but it is on my 100 books to read Friday poster, and I could find a free PDF of it online, but I decided I want to read the proper kids book and see all the pictures and illustrations, so I've rented that out at the library. Then, just as a little bonus, yes, that was my 5 spins, but I do want to read this book quite I was going to say bad and then desperately, and it became bastardly. It's a Veronica Roth short stories series, and yes, I did spin for this in episode 10 of this series. So again, another one I am just adding to the shelf. So that's what we're looking like, but let's do the spin the wheel for you guys.
Spinning the wheel for my beautiful subscribers.
So we have a blank here. I'm going to replace it. It's being replaced with Instagram influence. So a book that you've read due to Instagram's influence. Right, the spin for you is... a mystery book. Hope you like mystery, or hope you've got one that you have been wanting to delve into for a while. Consider this a sign. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep your eyes peeled for the next one, and I hope you enjoy all the places you go. Wow, I am stumbling over words. Enjoy all the places you go in your own reading adventures. Bye. Bye. Oh, off.